The deck build of the 8th player for Love Live, which was me. So basically, I was actually 9th place, but somebody got DQ'd. So I went to 8th, and the build is yellow, green, and I guess with a splash of red, just because the only red card that's a non-level 0 is just these two gates, and I guess you can call it with red, but I mainly see it just yellow, green. So for level 0s, I ran 16 zeros. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Okay. I ran 2 copies of this Katori. So she gives a buff when she's placed on stage, and she's also a runner. And I just ran 2 just because she's not a reliable card to be running with. So she doesn't mill on traits, so I had to mill a level 0. So that's why I didn't see her to be running four copies of. And I ran 3 copies of this Nozomi. She's just a generic searcher, and I ran her because of color-wise and because she's a searcher. So, and then I ran 3 just because I just wanted to get the cards that I needed. And I ran 4 copies of this Hanayo. She is a hand filter, and which is why I ran 4 copies of, just because within these events, sometimes your deck tends to troll you, so you get cards that basically you don't need. So this card was extremely good. I ran 2 copies of this Umi. She's a level 0 suicider, but I mainly ran her due to her second effect, which I could pay 1 and kill a level 0 character on my opponent's front row. And that I ran that just because it was my only way to kind of like kill like cards like Kotori that could just run away. So yeah, and to also pay out climaxes. 1 copy of this Hanukkah just because she has that effect that I could basically compress my deck by 2 cards if I just attack with her, if I just have 1 card in basically my deck. And I ran another copy of this Hanukkah. She's just an on-play pay 2 to salvage. I ran it just to pay out climaxes and to kind of salvage because I needed some more salvaging cards. I ran 2 copies of that Heli assist because I knew for sure I just needed to compress my deck, and that was pretty good. And 1 copy of the Maki to just spam and to compress my deck because of her brainstorming effect. So that's 16 zeros. Level 1 game, I ran 4 copies of this Ellie. Oh, of course, because she's a staple and she's just basically your beater. I ran 3 copies of the mermaid cards, of the swimsuit cards. Basically combos with this +2 soul. So on attack, I could pay 1 and search. And that just allowed me to generate hand size, I guess. And also it combos with the +2 soul. So +2 souls are pretty scary. And yeah. And I ran 2 copies of this Umi. She's cost 16k. She can basically become 7k, and she also has clock encore. So she's like my big wall, I guess, and also could basically have her out there without having to play another card because she could self-sustain herself. 3 copies of the Yumi just because she's staple, and she's a global booster plus my brainstormer to generate hand. 1 copy of the Nico just specifically for Titans because she's a costless 1k backup, but she's also an anti-changer. So I could pay 2 to kind of kill off a character that's higher level than my opponent. So mainly for Titans, even though if I didn't face off against one. And 1 copy of the Ellie promo, the cost is 1500 backup. And as for level 2s, I just ran two copies of this Ellie that's a level assist. When she comes into play, if I basically have a full stage of music characters, I get a blind stock. I kind of like this just because I didn't really want it to run the Hanayo or Ren, just because for Ren I just don't run blue, and also for Hanayo I didn't need that extra soul damage just because I have +2 souls already. And for this Ellie, she's essentially a costless level assist. Then I ran one copy of this cost 1 3K backup, mainly because it's green. And I ran one copy of this Rin backup, which she can essentially become a cost 1 3500 backup, mainly just because sometimes I need that power to protect my cards from being killed. And on to level 3s, I run a variety of them, I guess. I ran 2 copies of this Nico. She's a claw kicker, and she gets the character facing her is -1 soul. So she's there to kind of like push or just to finish off the game. And I ran 2 copies of the Kotori to kind of push also because she burns if her damage is canceled. And I ran 1 copy of the Ellie just for matchups that I can't face off against certain cards like Log. For their bodyguard, I could just pay 2 to bounce it back. 1 copy of that, of the Hanayo. She heals and she could also help compress my deck. And also there are times within certain matches where you basically have stock, but you have nothing to pay it out for. And this, Hanayo does basically that job. You just pay 1, ditch 1, she gains 2K, and then if you kill something, you search. And you could basically use that effect more than once, so you could search for 3 cards and so on. So it's a pretty good card. I ran 1 copy of that Rin, mainly just to help boost up my Nico, just because she's pretty weak on basically her own. So that Rin basically gave my Nico more power to be killing stuff. And 1 copy of the Nozomi, just because her effect is way too good. And that's basically the best card within this whole deck, because having the effect to just be kind of controlling your triggers is really good. And I could also give souls to my other characters, and it's a really good card. So for climaxes, I ran 4 plus 2 souls that combo with this level 1 game. 2 wind triggers just because wind triggers are fun, and also because within these big events, especially for English players, they tend to run a lot of cards that are costly, so this is pretty good just to bounce it back, and they just have to pay out more stock if they just want to play it again. And 2 gates just because gates are good, and yeah. And so my matchups were first round I lost again. First round I won just because the player that I was facing just dropped, so it was pretty one-sided. Yeah, it was pretty one-sided, I guess. Second round I faced off against SAO. It was red-blue, and it wasn't a good early game just because I drew most of my climaxes, so I was just compressing deck through this card and also Maki, but luckily my opponent didn't really push just because for 1 turn they passed, because they had like about three climaxes in their deck, and they had about five cards in their deck, so they just basically didn't want to trigger them. So all I did was kind of attack and to generate stock and kind of like kill off their field. So from basically there on, I just took it. And third round I faced off against Kesayo again. I won that round again. I had the same problems. I drew into my climaxes again, and I was just compressing and fixing my hand through that card. So luckily I won again. And because of that card, it's so good. Nozomi is too good. 4th round, I faced off against Madoka. I believe so. Yes, and I lost. It was a pure green build, and I just lost because I couldn't really cancel any damage, and it was pretty funny though. So yeah, and 5th round I faced off against Kantai. My opponent wasn't so lucky. They triggered climaxes, they drew them, and so with +2 souls it was like cry. It was like it was pretty.
Punish them.
Yeah, I punished them, but I felt bad too. And I believe was that 6th round? No, for 6th round I faced off against Log, and that round was pretty fun. I thought that I was sort of going to lose, but I won just because of this card right here. I bounced back their bodyguard, so I didn't have to worry about killing off my characters, and my opponent didn't have a lot of climaxes in their deck, so I just pushed them.
It was a twins build, right?
Yeah, it was twin build, and throughout the whole level 1 game, I couldn't really kill their cards, but all I did was +2 soul and just side attack and just search. So which was still pretty good. I was still doing decent damage. And round 7, no, round 8, no, was it round 7? Yes, round 7, okay, I'm getting my rounds confused. I faced off against SAO, and it was blue-yellow, yes, blue-yellow. And pretty much my opponent milled with their Kirito runner, they milled a Climax, so they were about 3 to 4 Climaxes out, and during that turn I did use +2 soul, so basically what I did was just push from there on, and I pushed them from level 1 to 6 damage, and then when it was their turn they clocked, so they were already at, you know, level 2, and it was pretty hard to come back from that, but yeah, so I kind of took it just because of that play, I would say so. And then I was 9th place and I went to top 8 and I lost against Monica again, just because Monica's too good with the Psycho's Wish, the compression that, I mean, basically my opponent had good compression and I wasn't doing much damage. I mean, I did push them to level 3 with like 3 damage, but in the end they still won. I didn't manage to cancel, and in general they played really well. And yeah, so this deck was actually a contribution to all of this shop, because these cards are not even mine. It's just all borrowed and stuff like that. So and yeah, so MVP of basically the whole event, it was Nozomi and this +2 soul. Yeah, being able to control what basically your trigger is really powerful, and yeah, and the +2 soul just helped throughout the whole match, just because I could side attack or frontal, you know.
Yeah, sustaining board.
Yeah.
You get to surge to compress your deck, and then against matchups like Titans, you can just live through it. You don't have to suicide, you know.
Yeah, I could still side attack and still do pretty good damage. But I didn't face off against Titans, which I was sad just because I was like, I wanted to use that card, that Nico card. But yeah, wait, did I mention that this was the Pomona event? No, I didn't, huh?
Yeah, this is the Bushiroad World Championships at Pomona, 2015.
Yeah, we did. So don't worry, I'll edit things out. But yeah, so this was basically the deck build. So hope you guys liked it, and any of you guys had any suggestions.
Yeah, so we mentioned before, but I guess you missed it. But you notice he has all the Muse characters.
Yes, this is basically all Muse. So I run at least
all 9 characters.
Basically all 9 characters, and even the climaxes are all Muse. I was like, cheating. That's cheating. I had all of them with me by my side, which is pretty good. Okay, so that's basically it.